everyone, and welcome back to the Hazardous Artist Series, Episode 10, Red Pandemonium. That's right, guys, we are on the final stretch of the Red Panda segment. Are you guys as excited as I am? Because that means next week we will be on a new animal! Yeah! And then, the several other animals that I have after that. But yeah, next week is a brand new animal, so let's get hyped for that. If you guys are curious to the coloring process that I go through, head on over to the Hazardous Artist Series Episode 1 for all your coloring needs. And if you guys are curious to the bane of my existence, the tedious inking process that I go through, head on over to the Hazardous Artist Series Episode 7, and you can see just why I have the name The Hazardous Artist. So let's get into red pandas today, because they are my favorite animal, and I had been dying to tell you about the fun facts that I actually have in my possession. Let me give you a backdrop on why they are my favorite animal. So when I was 8 or 9, it was Christmas Eve, and my mom had allowed us to open a present, and I was so stoked because it rarely happens in my family when I was a kid. So I picked a gift, the biggest one, because when you're a kid, when you see that big present, you gotta go for it. So I picked a big one, and it turned out to be a red panda plush. And it would be several months after that before I realized what kind of animal that plushie was. But that was the first time I was ever exposed to red pandas. And the zoo that I had near my house actually has, to this day, a red panda exhibit, which I am very happy about. They are cute, they are cuddly, and they have some strange behaviors. If you ever see any videos on YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, any of those platforms where you see a red panda, they come into their exhibit, or they go outside, they see something they're unfamiliar with, and then they jump on their hind legs, their front paws are high up in the air, and they're staring down this unfamiliar object. That is actually a defensive mechanism they do to make themselves look bigger. That is literally what you would look like if a mountain lion was coming after you. Or that's what I hope you guys do when a mountain lion is approaching you. You make yourself look bigger. And then, if the unfamiliar object is actually predator or anything, the red panda will actually attack as best as it can if it cannot escape. So, fun fact number 1. Yes, now we can get on to the others. So, my favorite fun fact about red pandas is that they're actually not related to the giant panda at all. At all. Despite having the name panda in their common name, they're more closely related to raccoons and skunks than they are pandas. And honestly, they're more like distant cousins than they are part of a family. And that's because recently they did some genetic research that kind of gives red pandas their own family in the phylogeny. So their genetic makeup is more unique, that's separate from their raccoon and skunk cousins. And my favorite fun fact. So these pandas live in the Himalayas in Asia, and they actually are between 7,000 to 15,000 feet, which is unfortunate for me because I hate climbing hills, but I will climb a hill to see a red panda. Even if I'm dying and crawling my way up this hill, I will find a red panda somewhere in that range. But red pandas are unfortunately endangered, so they might be, a little harder for me to find, which is so sad. Their primary cause is habitat destruction, habitat loss, which seems like the primary cause of most endangered species in the world. Unfortunately, they are not quite as endangered as the giant panda, and that's because the red panda doesn't exclusively eat bamboo. While it is something that they do eat, they eat other things like insects and other plant material. while the red panda is almost exclusive to eating bamboo. And that's why the giant panda, is more endangered. But, so red pandas are still here. They're probably going to be here longer than giant pandas, which is unfortunate. So red pandas are actually exposed and referenced in our culture here in America a lot more than we think. One of the more popular ones is from Legend of Korra. There's an animal called Pabu. This is the comic relief character's Bolin's pet partner, and he is actually a hybrid. He's not an actual full red panda. He is a hybrid of a ferret and a red panda. In fact, Pabu's species in Legend of Korra is the fire ferret, which is heavily referenced throughout the series. So that is one of the references that we see in culture with the red panda. And Legend of Korra is highly underrated. If you liked Avatar: The Last Airbender, I do recommend Legend of Korra too. Just don't read into a lot of the criticisms about Legend of Korra, because I think there's a lot of bias in the critiques of that television show. But Pabu is absolutely adorable, so watch it for Pabu, for the red panda reference. Another really popular reference is on Netflix. It's called Agretzko, and that's one of my favorite original Netflix series that they have going on. It follows a little red panda female named Retzko who who sings death metal when she's angry, and that's how she expresses her anger, and that's how she looks a little more relaxed. Though throughout the series she has a lot of stress that I can unfortunately relate to in a lot of ways. But while it looks like it is a children's show, don't let your children watch this show. This is not a children's show at all. It looks like it because it's cartoony, it's cute, but it's not a children's show. There's a lot of adult references and not really too much of the vulgar language, I guess, but there's a lot of cursing involved in this show, so it's not I would definitely not characterize it as a children's show. So guys, we are coming to a close on this video. I am just amplifying and adding details to the pupils of this red panda. And if you guys really enjoyed this video and you can't wait to see what animal I'm going to come up with next, then stay tuned next week as we continue on with that. But until then, you guys, I would have to say what I always say every week as I'm waiting for the details on the pupils to go away. Dare to create.